Hey, how's it going? It's Sean Bradshaw from cyberfret.com, and in this lesson I'm going to give you kind of the basics of getting started playing some fingerstyle guitar. So you can throw away the pick, and we're just going to be using your right hand fingers. So in getting started here with playing some fingerstyle guitar, first thing we're going to do is kind of a little exercise to help kind of train your right hand fingers what they need to be doing. All right? What I want you to do here is place your thumb on the 6th string, put your first finger on the 3rd string, your second finger on the 2nd string, and your third finger on the 1st string. Now, first here, you're not even going to play any notes. The idea is we're trying to train your fingers. And so what I want you to do is take your first finger and lift it up off that 3rd string, and then you're going to kind of swing that first finger up kind of behind your thumb here. So your thumb is always going to be just a little bit to the right of your fingers. All right, and the idea here is that the main motion you want to come from this big knuckle as opposed to like this. A big mistake a lot of people when they first start doing fingerstyle playing is, you know, they get their sound by either lifting out like this or kind of making this motion with their fingers. And the idea of basic fingerstyle is you want the main power to come from these big knuckles up here. And so this exercise, by kind of keeping all of your other fingers locked down on a string and then letting, in this case, your first finger just kind of move from that big knuckle, it kind of helps you get the idea of the motion that you want to be making here. So then, after you've done that a few times, just put your first finger down on that 3rd string. Now take your second finger. Same thing. All the other fingers are on a string, and this is kind of just isolating the motion that you want to make for that second finger. And then put your second finger down and do the same thing with your 3rd finger. And it's okay when your 3rd finger moves that your 4th finger kind of moves along with it. As far as fingerstyle playing goes, with the exception of some flamenco strumming techniques, you usually don't use your right hand pinky to play. So it's really only your thumb, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers that you end up using. So kind of after you've done that a few times where you're just kind of isolating your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers, kind of pulling from this main big knuckle here. And for your thumb, actually the motion comes from up here, up in your wrist. So you're not moving this knuckle here or this knuckle. It's actually from where your thumb attaches here back in your wrist. So that's kind of the motion that you want for your thumb. But kind of once you've done that with your fingers where you're resting your fingers, what I want you to do is just lift all of your fingers so they're hovering right above the strings. And if you kind of look here, I kind of have, you know, my wrist is straight, maybe even a little bit of an arch to it. I'm keeping my fingers curved here, all right? And then I'm hovering right above the strings. And what I'm going to do is kind of the first kind of finger picking pattern I'm going to show you is just basic. All you're going to do is go thumb, then 1st finger, 2nd, and then 3rd. Now, there will be some motion that you have that comes from, you know, this joint and even this joint, but I want you to think the main power is coming from those bigger knuckles. And as you play this pattern, try to keep your, you know, as soon as you play with your thumb, and then you're coming and playing your first finger here, your thumb kind of comes back up and is ready to play. What you don't want to do is something like this where your thumb and then your thumb's down here as you're trying to play. So at no time do you really want any of these joints in your thumb to be all bent around. You know, your thumb kind of pretty much stays straight and your fingers kind of stay curved. And again, your fingers kind of stay to the right of where your thumb is. That's an important thing, so that they don't kind of get in the way. You don't really want your thumb getting in the way of what your fingers are doing. All right, so just thumb, first finger, second, and third. And for the moment, we're just sticking with thumb playing the sixth string, first finger playing the third string, second finger playing the second, and third finger playing the first. Now, if I kind of think of those notes as eighth notes, I'm playing 4 of them. That means that's 2 beats. If I play that twice in a row, then I've got just a basic pattern I could use in 4/4 time, where there's 4 beats in each measure. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a G chord and I'm going to go to a C chord. All right, and I'm just going to play one measure of 4/4 time. So it's going to be, and then I'm going to go to a C chord, and I'm going to play that pattern twice again to get my 4/4 time. All right, so that's kind of a basic idea, that, you know, basic fingerstyle pattern that you can use in a song that's in 4/4 time. Now, kind of like with strums, there's just kind of almost an indefinite number of things that you could do, different patterns, but that kind of at least gets you thinking about getting started with playing some fingerstyle guitar. Now, 4/4 time is one of the most common time signatures. You know, 3/4 time is probably another common time signature that you'd run into. So just to show you a very basic pattern for 3/4 time, what you would do is just play thumb, first, second, third, second, first. So it'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and. That'd be 3 beats in a measure. Okay, so just remember, main power is going to come from those big knuckles. Try to keep your fingers just a little bit to the right of your thumb so they're not kind of getting in the way of each other. Do that exercise where I was having you kind of lock all of your fingers down on the strings and just kind of swing each finger back behind your thumb a little bit. And if you do that before you start playing, it kind of just reminds your right hand of the motion that it's supposed to take. So as I went to that C chord, one thing I forgot to mention is that what I did was I changed where my thumb was playing. So for a G chord, I was playing the 6th string with my thumb. But then what happened is when I went to the C chord, I ended up going to that 5th string. And if you just kind of think about, if you're strumming different chords, what the lowest note is that you'd normally strum. So for instance, if I was playing a D chord, well, that 4th string open is a D, went on a D chord. So normally if you were strumming, you'd try to strum 4 strings for that. So that means the finger picking pattern would be using that 4th string open as the bass note. Now, at first, you know, I would just stick with having your first, second, and third fingers stick on the top 3 strings, but they could definitely move around, maybe play the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and even, you know, do some other different combinations. But kind of get used to one way of doing this at first, and then you can kind of expand out from there. All right, have fun kind of getting started with playing a little bit of fingerstyle guitar. Have a good one.